All right. Wait for people to show up here for a quick second. A little bit of an impromptu live right now. Late night, get some thoughts to talk about, things to go over as we speak. So, hope everybody's doing well tonight. Yeah, I'm late night live tonight. Yeah, got some stuff to talk about. See, the Glare is here. Ford Kittens is here. Some good people in the chat. My cat's actually here right now. He's actually like, let me out of here. Let me out. He's always like, let me in or let me in or let me out. Let me out. All the time. What's going on, Stephanie? Hope you're doing well. Debbie Blair in the house. What's going on? Hope everybody's doing good. I didn't fire up the studio. I'm not gonna get that all set up tonight. It's just got to set the camera up, got to set the mic up, got to set all the good stuff up. I'm like, nope, not doing that. Utah in the house. What's going on? Australia in the house. Yeah, no, I feel like going live. I'm in a talkative mood right now. I was watching a little bit of the Red Sox, and I kind of moved on from that. So I'm like, let me talk about some of the things that's eating me up. I don't, like I said, I don't have time to set the studio up right now, so I'm not gonna bother doing that. But this is, one of the things that's really cool right now is that Aiden ran into Ben Affleck on his vacation here on Cape Cod, which is really, really cool stuff. I was honestly a big Christian Bale fan when it came to Batman, and I was not happy when the Christian Bale era ended of the Batman era. I was not into that, not a fan at all, not happy about that. But then Affleck, I thought actually ended up being pretty good. I'm one of the few people who thought Batman Superman was a great movie. I enjoyed it, but that's cool for Aiden. Gets to meet Ben Affleck, total Bostonian right there, if there ever was one. Pretty much like Matt Damon, Mark Wahlberg, Ben Affleck are all kind of the big Bostonian guys from that generation of actors. So yeah, I get the radio frequency waves voice going on tonight. So yeah, it's all good. But what's really kind of on my thoughts tonight is just the fact that Karen Reed has to file, her attorneys have had to file 2 motions to get back her Lexus and her cell phone, and that they continue to hold on to this and not give it back to them. It's almost as if these people were convinced there was going to be a third trial, and they just were not prepared to get this equipment back. These her possessions back to her. You know what I mean? It's like they were not in any way, shape, or form ever prepared to do that, and it's a shame. It really is, but it's also ridiculous. I wasn't on X much today myself, honestly. I didn't have much time today at all. I ended up going out for a huge walk after work today in the hot sun, and honestly, I didn't even sweat half as much as I thought I was going to. And I was like, I'm gonna be sweating like crazy, and then it never happened. I was like, it wasn't humid enough out there. It wasn't in any way, shape, or form hot enough to sweat the way I was hoping to sweat. But I'm trying to cut some body fat still. It's kind of my summer goal. Diet as much as I can, exercise as much as I can, lose as much weight as I possibly can this summer. It's been my goal for years, and I've trimmed down over the years, but I'm trying to trim down more than ever this year and cut up as well. So that's kind of been my goal, and it's working. I'm getting there. I'm definitely getting there as well. But I'm not setting the studio up tonight, so it's not the plan. So I'm just basically calling into StreamYard through my cell phone tonight, and just nothing's hooked up. No microphones, no nothing. It's kind of instead of using whatever it is on X that you use there, I forget what it's always called, X Spaces or something like that. I'm just like, let me just log into my YouTube account and talk to the audience that way, and get some conversation going. But yeah, again, these people have not given her back her Alexis yet. And it's just, to me, in my particular opinion of how I quantify this stuff, you would figure that as soon as she was not guilty, within maybe a reasonable amount of time, and I would say probably 2 weeks tops. 2 weeks tops, I would say, would be a reasonable amount of time to get back her vehicle and get her back her cell phone. 2 weeks tops. I think, sometimes it might take, it might go through processing, change of custody, whatever it is. I don't know what the procedure is, but you'd think within 2 weeks, that would be pretty reasonable. Okay, here's your here's your here's your phone back, here's your vehicle back, but no, that's not what's happening here. It's a situation in which they want to hold on to it for what reason? I don't know. Maybe they love the Lexus. Maybe they've grown mentally attached to this Lexus over the years. Maybe, who knows? Maybe they've been using the Lexus for, I don't know, whatever. But I don't know. But it's just insane that this trial ended what? Oh, at least 40 days ago or more. And they still have her Lexus. They are still holding it wherever they're holding it. And it just makes you wonder, for example, do they think that Karen Read and her defense team have a plan of attack for when they get that Lexus back? Forget about the cell phone. Okay, forget about the cell phone data, all that stuff. Just forget about it, right? Do they have a plan? Are they concerned that Karen Read and her defense team have a plan of attack for when they get that Lexus back? That they're going to basically have that Lexus, by criminal investigators or private eyes, whatever, examine and analyze that Lexus for foul play. And right now, are they holding? I'm just laughing at Peter's first name's quote because that's what I was joking. I was ready to make that joke, but I didn't go there. But are they sitting there and they're saying to themselves, if we return this vehicle back to Karen too soon? Because again, they probably thought that this was going to go to a third trial, because I'm sure that was the plan. I'm sure they always thought this thing was going to go to a third trial if they could help it. Were they trying to make sure that they could essentially acid wash this vehicle before they turn it back over to her? And I have no evidence to go off of on this. I have no grounds to make this accusation. It is simply myself theorizing right now what it could possibly be. But why in the world would it take so long to give somebody back their vehicle? It's like if your teacher apprehends your yo-yo when you're in third grade or something like that, or your slingshot in class. At some point, you either get it back at the end of the day or the end of the week or the end of the semester, whatever. It's a reasonable time. But you have a Lexus that was falsely alleged of being involved in a crime, right? The whole theory of the Commonwealth was that Karen Read used this vehicle as a murder weapon, and that is the bottom line. Popping over some seltzer water here. I got the Polar Cranberry Lime. So, they know that this was falsely, it was a vehicle that was falsely manifested into becoming a murder weapon, right? A homicidal vehicle, basically, right? And they know that they took the thing in the Sally Port. They know that the thing was tampered with. They blatantly inverted the video. We know who they are. We've seen the video. We've seen the court. We've seen what's going on. They know exactly what they've done. They tampered with that vehicle. They tampered with the taillight. They sprinkled taillight all over the lawn of 34 Fairview, like they were sprinkling sprinkles or jimmies, whatever you want to call it, on top of an ice cream sundae at your local ice cream place that closed 2 hours ago or 3 hours ago, okay? They sprinkled taillight everywhere. Here, there, everywhere. A little bit of taillight here, a little bit of taillight there. Okay. Now, I have to imagine, and going back to the point I was starting earlier, that they would probably have this vehicle examined the second they get it back. And that's probably been Karen and her defense team's thought. Well, let's get this thing examined, and let's do it for the purposes of whatever that purpose may be. Do they intend to file civil suits or civil suits against the state or the Canton Police, whatever? So to me, I'm starting to get the opinion, and this is my belief system, that they're blatantly acid washing that vehicle. And I don't know what they're doing or how they're doing it, but it is my belief. It is my theory. It is my whatever, that's what they're doing right now. That they're in some way, shape, or form cleaning up that vehicle to send it back to her And it's all like, yep, no, there's your vehicle. That's exactly how we brought it in. And as you can see, there's no tampering, no tampering with this vehicle, and nothing's ever been messed around with in any way, shape, or form. To me, that's the impression I'm starting to get. And I'm, like I said, that's what I'm going to be eyeballing in the coming days or weeks when she gets her vehicle back. And I'm wondering what they're going to end up doing. And I do think Ben Affleck could play Alan Jackson pretty well. I think Wahlberg could do it. I'm not a big Matt Damon fan, but I think Matt Damon could pull it off too. I think Matt Damon could pull off that role. I think Jeremy Renner could play Turtle Boy or Alan Jackson. No problem. I think Bradley Cooper could play Alan Jackson. I think there's a lot of good actors out there that could play those roles. I just want to have the best actors play the right roles in those movies. And a lot of times in movies, sometimes we'll see an actor play a role or cast in a role. And like, I don't know if that actor is going to be able to pull it off. And then you see the movie, like, well, they did pull it off better than I expected. Like when Heath Ledger was the Joker or when Ben Affleck was Batman, I didn't think they were going to do well at all. But they ended up pulling it off, and that ended up being a really good thing. That is for sure. That is for sure. So Glamma Sue says they may mess around for a year or more on this. I would not be shocked. I would not be shocked. For all we know, they could return the thing in a week or two, or for all we know, it could be the year 2026 before that. I don't imagine that Karen's probably going to ever drive the vehicle again. I don't imagine from what I understand, she's probably not too enthusiastic about driving right now for the time being. That's just rumors I've heard, but it's unconfirmed. But yeah, I just think that overall, this is suspicious to me. I just don't understand why motions need to be filed. And I had someone online on X try to justify it to me. Well, it could be because of this or that, or they have to do this or that. They just don't get their vehicle. Then you look at posts by like Olivia Lambo. She's all over it just as much as me or anybody else. That's outrage. But it's par for the course when you have, that's a great point, Scott. If there ever was a movie to be made, the final scenes are yet to play out. Great point right there. That's so true. But again, everybody else is pointing this out too. And again, I've heard a person or two try to explain it away on X. Well, in typical procedure, they typically take time to get it back. And it's like, if Olivia Lambo says it's not back in time, then it's not back in time. I don't care what anybody says. If Olivia Lambo is saying it's an outrage, it's an outrage. Okay? I believe it's an outrage. A lot of people believe it's an outrage. Give Karen Reed back. The thing is, too, that cell phone at this point only has nostalgic use for her, I'm sure. She obviously has had a new cell phone for the last 3 years, so I don't know. So I heard Aiden has the cell phone data back, but I don't believe he actually has his physical phones back, because I guess when it comes to being Aiden Carney or Karen Reed, it takes 90 years to finally get your property back. It's the most insane stuff that I think we've ever seen, ever. Okay. But that's what it is with this vehicle, though. It's like, Karen at this point obviously got a new cell phone, right? She's got a new phone, and other than maybe having some nostalgic data on that, is not really much. I think they did seize her phone a second time, didn't they? Seize her phone like a year ago. I think they did it again. So, it's just, yeah, that's right. They didn't take all of Aiden's phones. They basically took so many phones from Aiden that they probably took his flip phone too from 2009. It's just it's just insane. Those flip phones were cool for a while, and then all of a sudden they got really dated, and you needed to have all that stuff. But yeah, there's no excuse right now why her property has not been returned to her. I just don't understand what it is and what the delay is, other than the fact, to me, because it just makes me think, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I'm going to be in this situation. It just makes me think, hey, look, why are you withholding this? Are you acid washing this property? Are you holding on to it? What are you trying to hide from putting back in her hands? It should be a simple process, right? It should be clean cut. The trial's over. It's over. You were acquitted. Okay? Here is your cell phone. I mean, it's like when people leave prison, right? When they go to jail or whatever, they apprehend some of their personal belongings. And then when they leave, they get their goodie bag and they get all their little whatever stuff they had, back in 1996. And they get a bag with all their stuff from 1996 that's extremely outdated. And they walk out of prison. They get it right away because they're no longer, the prison doesn't hold on to all their stuff. All right. They don't hold on to it. It's like you're out of jail. You're leaving the prison facility today. Here are your items. Here's your fingernail clipper. Here's your spare brownie that you brought. Here's your toothpicks. Here's your calculator. Here are your spare reading glasses. They give them back, whatever it is that they walked in there with. Okay, they give it back to them. End of story. It's not up for debate. When you're acquitted, okay, you're on trial. The jury has basically reached a verdict. They delivered the verdict. It's been read. Case is over. I mean, Karen Read, like I said, within a reasonable amount of time, she should get her bail money back. I don't even know if she even got that back yet because she's entitled to get, I think it was 80% or more of that back, if not all of it. She should be getting back for the amount of money that she spent on that. So that's another thing that Steve O24 brings up. She should be getting her bail money back. And, it's like, come on, give her back her property. Other than that, it just looks suspicious to me. So Ted Daniel wrote an article today. Karen Read's lawyer bewildered by delay in returning property. So again, this is another attorney representing Karen here. And this is another article by Ted Daniel. And I thought Ted Daniel was one of the better on-air media personalities from a local level that was able to, really cover the story well, cover the case well, really dig into it, really conduct some solid interviews with Karen Read, and really do a heck of a job in getting the job done. And, Steve-O, you're right. Maybe they should give her back interest, considering it's been 3 years. So considering the prices of inflation, they should tack on another $15,000. I believe it was it was 80,000 or 100,000. It was something like that. So Ted Daniel wrote today, this is an article from 648 tonight, with her high-profile criminal case concluded. Karen Read, here it goes. Here we go. It says, Karen Read is now pushing for the return of her personal property, including 3 cell phones. Okay, so 3 cell phones. We thought it was 2, perhaps, me and Glenn Massouz did, but it's 3. Okay, an Lexus SUV valued at approximately $60,000, all of which were seized by the Massachusetts State Police. Steve Buzang, a Dedham-based defense attorney who recently joined Karen Read's legal team, has filed 2 motions seeking their immediate return. Quote, I put a call into the Norfolk DA's office and inquired about getting back the personal cell phone as well as the car, stated Buzang. Okay, so they put that in there. Give us the cell phone. Give us the vehicle. Give her back her stuff. It's come on. It's not. I mean, your lawyer shouldn't have to file a damn motion here. And of course, with all the things and all the hoops that Karen Read and her defense team have had to jump through, especially in the second trial, why would they not withhold or delay providing back to her or returning back to her SUV, her cell phone? Why would they not? Because it's just, to me, par for the course with the nonsense that they've given this poor woman for the longest time. So she can take the vehicle and exchange it for cash or trade it in and get a new vehicle or whatever. And it's just another situation where even now that this trial's over, she just can't get back what's rightfully hers. And that's to me, that's bothersome. It is. It should, as a supporter of Karen Read, it should upset you. It should anger you. It should make you ask questions, quite honestly, that they continue to do this. Give her back her Lexus. And this is why I'm going live tonight, because I'm sitting here reading Twitter, and I'm like, I got to go live, but I do not feel like going on camera tonight. I do not feel like setting up my microphone and my camera and all this stuff. I'm just gonna voice my thoughts and voice my opinions and rant and rave about all of this stuff. But it's again, it makes people that are already looked at as suspicious more suspicious. Are you acid washing the vehicle? And I don't mean that literally, but are they? What are they doing? What is the problem? What is the holdup? What is the delay? What do you have to hide? Okay, so the attorney says, I'm going to repeat the same quote again. I put in a call to the new Norfolk DA's office and inquired about getting back the personal cell phone as well as the car. He continues, well, when I didn't hear back after a month, okay, this attorney, Buzek, waited a month. And again, I think that waiting a month is reasonable. I would say waiting 14 days to get that stuff back is reasonable. Then there comes a point where reasonable goes away, and now it becomes unreasonable. And that's exactly what's happened here, is that this has become unreasonable. So he goes, when I didn't hear back after a month, it was time to file a motion and let the judge order the items to be returned. As Boston 25 News reported on Monday, Buzang first filed a motion to reclaim Karen Reed's 2021 Lexus LX 570 and one personal phone. Okay. On Tuesday, investigative reporter Ted Daniel obtained a second request. That's a second request, ladies and gentlemen, filed by Buzang for the return of two additional phones belonging to Reed. These two phones were seized by state police in January 2024 during an attempt by special prosecutor Ken Mello to indict Karen Reed and Aiden Carney, the content creator known as Turtle Boy, on witness intimidation charge. Yeah, that was their big sting that they were trying to do. So it was two phones. It's tough to remember all these details over time, though. A lot of times time goes by and it's like you start to forget like the smaller details over time, but that's definitely what happened here. But yeah, I mean, if the Lexus is valued at $60,000, I mean, that's a nice little bag of cash right there on a trade-in or whatever, or a sale. But yeah, you see that as two motions were filed. Okay, that attempt to indict Reed and Carney was ultimately blocked by a grand jury. They returned no bill, meaning there was no evidence whatsoever that Karen Reed or Aiden Carney had committed any crimes, attorney Buzang explained. I'm bewildered why those phones weren't turned back over immediately. So he's referring to January 2024. And he says, why were these phones not returned over immediately? This is what the issue has been all along. It's run rampant in Karen Reed's situation. It's run rampant in Aiden Carney's situation, where there is just no protocol that would be considered normal protocol, which basically entails, you have lawyers like Alan Jackson, David Yannetti, all saying, I have defended multiple clients in my life, and I've never seen a judge do this, or I've never seen a courtroom operate like this, or I've never seen the police operate like this. And even after it's all said and done, here we go again with this. No, we can't see Mazza tonight. I'm hiding out tonight. I just wanted to kind of talk, and I didn't feel like taking the time to set up my show because I didn't know how long I was going to go. And so I just decided to go live on the phone app. So that's basically what I'm doing tonight. So I'm talking to you in voice only. It's an audio only show tonight, and that's the way it rolls. Yeah, so Glenn Sue says, Brian Walsh received his phone back in 18 hours. Stephanie has also shared the Turtle Boy Defense Fund. Please go ahead and make the donation to Turtle Boy's Defense Fund. We raised $640, plus there was another $1,000 donation that was sent directly to Cash App during that show as well, which was fantastic. Shout out to the mods, Jeno, Glenn Massouz, Stephanie, Scott McGinnis as well, and all that great stuff. So, yeah, you have a situation here where, again, Brian Walsh got his phone back right away. But then when it's Karen Reed or Aiden Carney, who are, living, breathing threats to the state of Massachusetts and the county of Norfolk, things have to be different. And that's what's really the scary part about all of this, I believe. And we've seen this in Connecticut recently with Sean Paul Reyes, is that these cops I'm not anti-police at all. In fact, I quite very much support the police, but not corrupt cops. I don't support corrupt cops. I don't support injustice. I don't support anything like that at all. That's where I draw the line. If you're abusing your badge or whatever, that's where I have an issue. That's what kind of gets me fired up. But you kind of see with Aiden, Karen, or even Sean Paul Reyes down in Connecticut, that when the police just want to do what they need to do whatever it is that they want to do, have to do, or need to do, then they just go right upon doing it. They don't stop. They'll bend the rules, break the rules, and then they have the power, aligned with them to get away with this kind of stuff. And then there's no accountability at all when it comes to this level of stuff. And it's up to people like Sean Paul Reyes, Aiden Carney, Karen Reed, to stand, take a stand, make a stand, and put up a fight and fuss a little bit about everything that's going on. And that's what we've seen here in Massachusetts and Connecticut. And I'm sure that there's a handful of people all over this country that have done the same thing. I've never heard of their story, and I'm not aware of their story, but I'm sure it's probably happened there. But again, why is Brian Walsh getting his phone back within a reasonable amount of time? Yet Karen Reed's trial has been over for a month now. The January 24th, 2024 matter has been resolved. Why are they not getting their phones back? And that's an issue. That's a big, big issue right there. Okay. Again, he says, I'm bewildered why these phones weren't turned back over immediately. Carney already faced numerous charges for activism in the Reed case and spent 60 days in jail prior to the March attempt to indict him and Reed. When asked if he had received any rationale for the continued retention of the items, Buzang suggested a potential motive. Quote, well, I think the civil lawyers may have some interest in it. He added, the civil lawyers can fight in another case if they want phones or cars or anything. So there you have it right there. Okay, so when asked if he received any rationale for continued retention of the items, Attorney Bozang, who represents Karen Reed, suggested a potential motive. Well, I think the civil lawyers may have some interest in it. The civil lawyers can fight in another case if they want their phones or cars. So there you have it right there, that there's a suggestion made by the attorney that they want to hold the thing. They're holding it for some kind of motivational reason. Either they're acid washing the thing, or like he's suggesting, they got some kind of motive down the road for the civil cases, or maybe even potentially if Karen Reed's to turn around and sue the state or sue the Canton Police Department, the state police, Norfolk County, the state of Massachusetts, they're all worried about that. They're all worried about that. So yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. So civil attorneys have everything that they need. That's a great point. I mean, that is a great point. They would have everything they need at this point. Give her back her vehicle. And of course, Buzang is referring to the wrongful death lawsuit filed by the family of John O'Keefe against Reed, which is a civil case currently pending. Boston 25 News has reached out to the Norfolk District Attorney's Office to ask why the items have not yet been returned to Reed and if there are any established protocols for their return. Late Tuesday, the office emailed a reply of no comments. So here you have it, folks. The Norfolk District Attorney's Office replied to Boston 25 News asking why the items were not returned to Karen Reed, and again, asking for an elaboration. Are there any established protocols for the return of these items? The Office of the District Attorney replied, no comment, ladies and gentlemen. No comment. And like I was told by one of my professors in college, saying no comment is a comment. No comment is a comment. And it's really up to the perception of how anybody wants to perceive that. But you have a district attorney's office that cannot answer that question. They cannot provide an excuse. They cannot say, well, it's been delayed. Well, if it's been delayed, that's also suspicious. Let's be honest. But they cannot in any way, shape, or form produce any kind of remark, but no comment. Why is that vehicle still being held? Why are the cell phones still being held? Why have you not released them to Karen Reed? Why has that not been done? And while we're at it, why is Aiden Carney still not got his phones back yet? These are all things that beg questioning. And then you have a district attorney's office that just feels like, I mean, I get it. They have the right to not answer any questions. but it's how they answer those questions. It's the lack of transparency. It's all these things that go on that raise questions all the time. And again, they never miss an opportunity to be suspicious. They never miss an opportunity to look suspicious. They never miss an opportunity to appear corrupt. Every single nook and cranny, every single left, every single right, every single turn, every single directional change, they always look suspicious. They always look corrupt. This district attorney's office gives nobody in the public, whether within their county or outside of it, any reason at all to feel confident in the decisions that they make and how they carry those decisions out. And it always looks like they have motives. It always does. And that is the bottom line. You know, it just, Boston 25 is asking fair questions. What is the established protocol for getting Karen Reed back her Lexus and back her phone? I'd imagine as a district attorney's office, many trials have ended where individuals are acquitted and any personal belongings of them are returned. But in this particular situation, when asked about the protocol, there is no definitive answer from the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office. In fact, the way that they respond is by saying no comment. Lazy and suspicious as hell, in my particular opinion. I don't know why. I cannot tell you why. Everyone's saying the audio is cracking up. Yeah, well, I don't know. Has it been cracking up the entire time? Or is this just the most laugh out loud stream of all time? Yeah. Well, no comment means we haven't come up with a good enough excuse as to why Karen hasn't received write-ups yet. Fair enough, Steve. But that's it. That's my vent session for tonight. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in to MazzaMedia's Impromptu Live. And we thank you for your time. Be sure to subscribe. And I'll be on LTL Media Sunday evening. So tune into that on YouTube. Unless you're attending, then I'll see you there. But everyone have a great evening. Tuesday night. We're going into Wednesday, the last day of the heat, the real serious heat. And everyone take care. Stay cool. Stay hydrated. For MazzaMedia, I am Mark. Thank you, guys. Have a good one. Thank you, Time Limit. Appreciate it. Thank you all. Bye-bye.